What's going on, Patriot? CG Patriot here, and this is Awake with Reason. Today is Friday, April 16th, and it is 2021. It's the day after Thursday. So if you're just joining me here and you like what you see, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. And if you like this video and you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps out with the channel. So if you haven't watched my the episode that I did 2 days ago, it was with the legendary David Weiss, who is a legendary flat earther. So check that video out. It's gotten a ton of views and a lot of great reviews in regards to the comments below, and I appreciate all the feedback on that video. It was an amazing interview. And you know, it's interesting when you do an interview and you get off of it, especially for me, is you sometimes think you're like, it was okay, you know, and you kind of, you know, you do a little bit of a critique of yourself. But you know, this was one of the interviews I've done where I looked at it afterwards with my wife and I was like, oh wow, that actually turned out really good. I want to see that and that's kind of the reason behind me doing these videos, is I want to create a video that I want to see, and then hopefully that's something that you guys want to see. So, but I wanted to get into some local news quickly with you today, and then also just a couple other things, some connecting of the dots. And I'll show you that video, Do We Live on a Ball, with David Weiss real quick when we hop in. And then I want to show you a gentleman that he had spoken about, which was JonLevi. And I've been in this rabbit hole for the past 2 days, watching these 20-minute videos that this guy has, and his stuff is absolutely amazing. And he also has an awesome sarcastic sense of humor that goes along with it, and it fits perfectly for, you know, the topic that he is discussing, right? So okay, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, first things first, I wanted to go over a little bit of local news. It might be nothing, it might be something, I don't know, but whenever I see an article that has a relationship to the one I'm about to show you, which is, you know, human trafficking, I instantly, bells go off in my head, particularly if something has, you know, has some legacy to it. So it's its sixth year here, the I-5 Freedom Network. And this could be completely and 100% legit. This person could be a hero. I don't know. But we also know that the fact is that there's so many networks out there that don't really do what they say they do, and it's very deceptive. You know, Red Cross is one of them that I've heard of. You know, pretty much anything that is in relationship to or is in proximity to, you know, the ability to gather children in an area that is obviously doesn't have a ton of, let's say, security. Just around the corner here is Mexico, and obviously has a different value on life, unfortunately, for some of the folks that live there. And you know, even here in the US, you know, we've got 800,000 per year kids go missing. You know, so, you know, I'm going to strike the message I just said before. It happens even in a wealthy nation, or a supposed wealthy nation like the United States. So it can happen anywhere. Okay. But when I see something like this, again, I have no idea yet who this person is, but I did look into it a little bit. So she has connections to, when I did a little bit of the background, and again, I'm going to say it again, I have no idea, good or bad. I just, you know what, is our due diligence at this point to look into these things when we see them, particularly at this point in time. So what I found was that she had been, and maybe does still work for, this professional agency called the Dale Carnegie Agency. And so this is interesting because it's the one out of Orange County, but its headquarters is in DC. And when I went down the list of, you know, how this started and its heritage, right, it's interesting that this gentleman, Dale Carnegie, has some connection to of all things, the Tartarian Empire, which is interesting. So I'll get into that a little bit more, but some of this stuff connects to some interesting backgrounds, interesting information that you know what, if you guys want to look into it too, I think that's a good idea. You know, we got to make sure that these particularly these legacy groups are doing what they say they're going to do. And again, this is in its 6th year. I'd imagine this person, if she was involved with, and again, just speculating, if she was involved with the human trafficking and she was at the forefront of this and fighting it, that I would have heard of her before, A, and B, that we would she would be one of the largest voices, not just in this newspaper article, but she would be somebody that, particularly with her background, she'd be somebody that we would see on newscasts, on media, on Fox, maybe even Fox News. They might carry something like this. Even on alternate media outlets, we would probably see her, you know, being pretty vocal about this. Particularly if she understands the gravity, which if she's in it for 6 years, she has to get how dark this gets. You can't be in here with blinders on in this kind of arena without knowing. Okay. And that's what I'm just bringing up. So anyways, let's move on. Okay. So right now this is up right now. And this is not local news, but this is instant news. So this is the podcast, or not the podcast, but the channel that I mentioned actually in the video that I did with David Weiss the other day. I mentioned some of the symbolism that I was talking about in regards to, you know, the matrix, not the matrix, but the Metatron cube version of, you know, a flat Earth. And this is the actual channel. So this is the Reveal Report. This is actually going to be going live, or it is live actually. It looks like right now. I'm just on pause. It's going live right now, and I'd highly suggest this for anybody that's listening to this. It's a great show, The Reveal Report with Jessie. I'm gonna say the last name. I'm gonna kill it. Czebotar. I'm gonna get this right one of these days. I promise you. So this is on live right now. I'll put it in the links below. And then let's get into the topics I was discussing. This one. So this was the "Do We Live on a Ball" episode. And this, again, this had, you know, got great feedback, guys. And I'm really humbled to have David Weiss on the show. And it was an amazing show. And I suggest if you're a newbie looking into, actually, I would suggest this video for newbies right away. This is the one where I kind of go over, you know, what are the top 3 things that somebody needs to, you know, look into for proofs if they're a newbie. And then also the counter argument against the flat Earth theory. What are some of the things that they bring up? And he goes over those in here. You know, this guy is a legend. So this is the "Do We Live on a Ball" episode, and you can find it in the links below, or it's the last episode on my channel. So he mentioned this guy called JonLevi. And JonLevi, or JonLevi, however you want to say it, is literally this channel had me mesmerized for the last 2 days. And here it is. So this is the gentleman, JonLevi, or Levy. And he's got a ton of videos, and his videos go through, you know, it looks as though, I haven't gone all too far back in his stuff, but it's the majority, if not all of it, has to do with the Tartarian Empire and basically our lost civilization prior to like 1920 or 1900. This stuff is going to literally blow your mind, and I guarantee after you watch like 2 or 3, even 1 might get you to a point where you're just like, I can't believe that this is possible, but I can, because the way he actually presents the information is so straightforward. And you think to yourself, how have I been, or at least I have thought to myself during watching his videos, how have I been this asleep to not see what was staring me directly in the face, literally everywhere, all over the world. And when he puts it together, it just this click in your brain will go off. I promise you, this click in your brain will go off if you give him some time. Give him at least 2 to 3 episodes. They're only 20 minutes each. Your brain will literally, it may be like mine, you'll have this moment where you're just like, it makes perfect sense. Okay, so check him out. I'm going to do a little bit more on JonLevi. I hope I'm pronouncing it right in the future. But what I do want to bring up is there was a connection to one of these videos that I actually have in my previous video. And I might have actually even brought this up on the David Weiss interview, which is Tartaria. All right. So the episode that I was looking into here is the one I did. It's called Awake with Reason, episode 15, the Yellow Brick Road, part 1. And I'm actually taking notes and doing a part 2 probably pretty soon. So this one was about the Epic software, and you'd have to, for me to explain it to you right now would be a little tough. But basically, there's a lot of dark paths that go on at Epic, from what I can tell. And if you watch the video, you'll know what I mean. But so this is actually on their campus. And when I saw this statue, it just struck me as odd, extremely odd. And everything on this campus is extremely odd, but this one stuck out. So then I found out that the Tartarian Empire, and for some reason I had a video pop up. That video actually ended up showing me Tartarian Empire without me even thinking about researching it. And what I found was that particular statue right there was actually this flag, was the symbol to a flag. And it tripped me out. It completely tripped me out. So it's this right here. Okay. So when I saw the relationship to the two, I just had to dig and dig and dig. And that was what I brought up on the on the interview with David Weiss yesterday. So in regards to that, there is some information that I'd like to share. And that's the Yellow Brick Road. That's connecting those dots there in the Tartarian Empire, and the Easter egg, which is involved in, JonLevi. So those things, all three of those connect. Okay. And it's just interesting how they connect. But the next one is actually an episode I did, which got, banned. Actually, it was too hot for YouTube. And that episode is actually called Evergreen and the Lost Boys. And I'll show you the screenshot of that episode real quick. And this is actually going to be on my Rumble account. So I've got most of my videos up here on Rumble. And if for some reason I ever go down here, this is where you'll find me. You can find my link to Rumble. I'll put it in the links below, but you can also find that on the About part on my YouTube channel. So this part of the Tartarian Empire that connected to Evergreen and the Lost Boys, which is a video I did, almost a month ago, is crazy. Because what I found out is, going through JonLevi's videos, is that there is an actual thing which is called an airship. And these airships aren't aren't something that was out of fiction. These existed. I'm going to scroll down here and you're going to see these, and it's going to blow your mind. So you've seen these things, which are Zeppelins. And this shows how they connected. And this is a whole other topic. This is how it connected to the Empire State Building. It's just blowing my mind, this whole thing. But when you get farther down, what you're going to notice is, let's see here. You're going to notice these ships. So these ships they were told that they were just these sci-fi, drawings that never existed, etc. And these were kind of the story behind them. But this, I don't believe that's true, because this, for me, is disclosure, in particularly in this video. And if you haven't seen the movie Pan yet, I suggest you see it, because this is exactly what goes on. And I can't play this because it's got some copyright issues if I do, but I can go ahead and show you through this. If that movie Pan is, they're getting taken away by this airship. Okay. And this airship, the interesting part about this airship is they fight off these, and this is like in the 40s, I guess you would say. They fight off these World War II, I guess it would be World War II fighter jets. And it always struck me as odd. I was like, okay, so they see a floating ship, and that's not the first thing on their mind. The first thing on their mind is to take the floating ship down, right? And there's some interaction with, the the airport tower, and they're not even talking about like, what are we seeing here? And there isn't any, hint that the pilots are like, why is there a floating ship in the air? So I connected that, and this is that part of that scene. And then I connected that, and what I saw was, when I saw this, it reminded me exactly, literally, of this. Okay. So I want to go deeper into this, but there's a connection there. It's all starting to connect together. And this one is on stolenhistory.org. And this is actually one of the URLs that JonLevi explains in his videos. So I'll go ahead and put that in the links below. I haven't had the time to go through this entire site, but there's so much stuff on here. All right, so I think that's going to do it for this episode. I just wanted to give you guys an update on some of the local stuff that's going on around me and what I saw, and some of the stuff that is feeds my brain for research I'm going to be doing over the weekend in regards to some of these connections that I've made. And I have to say, these connections, and like other channels that might mention this as well, these connections don't really seem to be just, coincidental. I've been asking for, information and knowledge and guidance and everything from God. So, it's interesting how I start to wake up these mornings and I don't really even start to think about how can I research my next topic. It ends up just falling in my lap these days, which is amazing. So the power of prayer is unbelievable. And the more I get this stuff, and research it and find this, little grain of truth after another, I'm going to go ahead and connect these dots and put them together for you guys so you can check them out here on this channel. So that's going to do it for today. I'm going to go ahead and most likely make a longer broadcast this weekend, but it looks like some interesting stuff's going on. Monkey Werx had mentioned something about, I'm not going to even say the term, but Monkey Werx, if you follow him, apparently his video was running slow today, and I'm going to have to check this out here shortly because I think it's back up and running. He mentioned something about DEF Con 3. So I don't want to mention anything more than that. I don't know if that's a trigger word, but he's a great follow. He actually monitors all the air traffic and stuff. So if you want, I'll go ahead and put that in the links below so you can check that out too. It's back up and running. But otherwise than that, you guys have a great Friday and stay frosty.